Hi, it's Sunday the 10th of March 2024. I'm spending a few months walking from Land's End to John O'Groats. I'm currently in Tavistock and I'm going to spend 4 days walking from Tavistock across Dartmoor to Exeter. So today's quite an easy walk. I've got about a 12-mile walk. I'm heading up to Ingra Tor on the western edge of Dartmoor, where I'll be camping tonight. And I also hope to see a couple of Bronze Age stone circles today. So when I was in Tavistock, I decided to pop home for a couple of days and do a kit swap. I was originally planning to do that when I got to Exeter, but there's a very regular bus service from Tavistock down to Plymouth train station, so I thought I'd pop down then, because mainly I wanted to swap my tarp around for a tent, because I just don't get on well with the tarp. It's just too flappy in this sort of windy weather. I know there's people watching this video saying, oh, there's configurations for storms when you're using a tarp, and I know there is. There's a very good channel called Papa Hiker, which I think is the go-to channel for connoisseurs of tarp camping, and he has a lot of good setups for tarps in windy weather. But it's still a bit of a nightmare trying to put a tarp up when it is windy, and then all night I'm worrying that it's about to fall down again. And also there's another channel I quite like, Summit or Nothing, and it's a guy called Trevor, does a lot of hiking around Dartmoor, and it's a good channel because he shows lots of good places to camp. And in one video he was at Hangershell Rock, which is in South Dartmoor, and he's camping with a mate, and his mate had a tarp, and it was quite a windy night, and the tarp was blowing around all over the place. So I watched that and I thought, no, I'm going to take a tent, I think. So I'll be using a tent all the way up to John O'Groats. Now I'm trying to look for there's an ancient granite cross on this golf course somewhere. I hope to find that before I continue up to the Tors. Just arrived at Pixie's Cross, and this is one of many ancient granite crosses on Dartmoor. I think there's still well over 100 of them, and these date back, some of them date back hundreds if not thousands of years. I'm not sure how old this one is, but tomorrow I'm going to Seward's Cross, and that one I know is about 1,000 years old. But where I am now, this used to be an ancient track from Buckfast Abbey over to Tavistock Abbey, because the monks and the abbots used to walk from one abbey to the other, and this is called the Abbot's Way. And these granite crosses were used as way markers. So I hope to see a couple more on my travels. So tomorrow I'm going to Seward's Cross, which is a much larger, much more well-known cross. But this one's on a middle of a golf course, so I have to quickly run on and off to look at it before I get shouted at. So from here I'm heading up to my first tour of the walk across Dartmoor. I'm heading up to Ingra Tor. Some of the many Dartmoor ponies. I'll see a few more this week, I think, because there's a few of them on the moors, one of the main attractions of Dartmoor. I was just passing by Ingra Tor, so I thought I may as well spend a few minutes here and go up to the top and admire the view, because I've got loads of time today. So this is the view from Ingra Tor. Right, I guess I'd better continue onwards to Sharpie Tor. Just arrived at the top of Sharpie Tor. That's Ingra Tor Reservoir, just down in the distance. And just after that, on the other side, is Sheep's Tor, where I'll be heading to pretty soon. This is looking north, where I've just come from. Looking westwards back towards Cornwall. So from here, I'm just going to wander over to nearby Leather Tor, and then from there I'll just head down to the reservoir and then head up to Sheep's Tor. Just arrived at Sheep's Tor, so it's a bit of a steep climb now, but the views at the top are well worth it. Just arrived at Sheep's Tor. It's a ominous black cloud up there, but I think the weather's not going to be too bad tonight. So the plan is, I'm quite early, so just to the southeast of here there's a Bronze Age stone circle. It's called Ladymead Stone Circle. So I'm just going to pop down there and have a look at that, and then collect some more water, and then come back here, and then it'll be starting to get dark and I'll find a camping spot. So about a 20-minute walk away from Sheep's Tor, which is just up there. This is Ladymead Stone Circle. So this is similar to the stone circle I saw in Cornwall at Boscawen. This was built maybe 4,500 years ago, around 2500 BC onwards. That was the great era of stone circle building. And what makes Ladymead quite unique, it's actually 4 concentric circles. They believe that there may have been a cairn, a burial chamber in the centre, and then it was surrounded by this inner stone circle, and a second one here, and then a third one, and then a fourth one here. So it's a mystery why they did it in 4 stones, why they did 4 circles. There's another YouTube channel I like, the Prehistory guys, and like the name suggests, they do a lot of videos about prehistoric buildings, and they were here, and they jokingly said that maybe they built 4 circles, maybe it was a big giant target for spear practice, and whoever got the spear in the centre won. So I'm going to pop back to the Tor now. There's a nice handy stream on the way, so I'm just going to fill my bottles up and then head back up to the top of the Tor. Just got back to the top of Sheep's Tor. Weather's a lot better now. So that's Ingra Tor Reservoir. I'm looking west back over to Cornwall. If I had a pair of binoculars, I might be able to make out Ingra Tor, where I was a few days ago. I think that's about 20 miles away from here. That's looking down to Plymouth and the coast. It's a very popular wild camping site, this. I wouldn't advise coming here July and August because there'll be people camping, taking all the good spots. I saw one video, a YouTuber called Jana Wanderer, and he came up here one Easter and couldn't find anywhere to camp. There's so many tents, he had to go partly down the slope near the reservoir to find a camping spot. And I think this is the popular place to camp, but I won't be camping here. It's too windy, I think, up here. In the summer this would be great, but I'm going to find somewhere a little bit out of the wind. That's looking north, that's Leather Tor and Sharpie Tor just over in the distance where I came down this morning. Right, I'm just going to wander down from the main outcrop of rock. I'm just going to find somewhere that's got a nice view but is sort of out of any wind. Found a nice little secluded spot away from the main outcrop of rock. I don't think it's going to be a very windy night tonight. It's a quite nice forecast. It's about a 5 mile per hour wind, which is what it is now, so it should be quite nice. So I'm going to settle down now. Tomorrow I'll be walking to Princetown, and then I'll be heading for a familiar camping spot of mine. I'm heading to Houghton Wheels tin mine. I camped there a few months ago and it's a really great spot for camping, so I'll be camping there tomorrow night. So until tomorrow morning, good night. Nice quiet night last night. I think the weather today is just going to be cloudy and mild, but it's just a short walk, about 12-mile hike again. I'm going to go down to Princetown and then head over to the old Houghton Wheel tin mine to camp tonight. I'm heading over to Coombs Head Tor, and then I'll be going down to Down Tor Stone Circle. Just arrived at Coombs Head Tor, so I can get a nice view of where I was last night. That's Sheep's Tor, Ingra Tor Reservoir just to the right. So I'm just going to have a little break, and then not far from here there's another Bronze Age stone circle I'm going to visit called Down Tor Stone Circle. Just arrived at Down Tor Stone Circle. I just want to quote from megalithic.co.uk because they've got quite a good description of it. So this has to be one of the most attractive megalithic structures on Dartmoor. It is a ring cairn attached to a 349 metre stone row that is concave as it dips downward and then rises upward with the terrain as it approaches the circle. The ruined cairn within the ring is some 8.5 metres across. There are 25 small stones forming the circle, averaging about half a metre in height. One has to bear in mind, of course, that in the Bronze Age, much of Dartmoor was still forest. So where I'm standing now, looking out over there, this would have been still quite heavily forested. So where they built the stone road, this might have been a route through the forest. So they may have used it for funeral processions, as well as just as a route for one community to another. So I'm just going to have another little break, then I'm following the stone row because this goes directly to my next stop, which is Seward's Cross. Just arrived at Seward's Cross. I think there's the army's training at the moment, so I'd better clear off quick out of their way. But this is Seward's Cross. I just want to quote from treksandtours.co.uk. So this is the oldest and one of the largest crosses on Dartmoor. It is thought to have been erected between 1042 and 1066. Seward's Cross stands at the junction of two main tracks across the moor, the Abbot's Way and the Monk's Path. Both tracks link the Abbey at Buckfast and the Abbey at Buckland. The name Seward is thought to have derived from Earl Seward, a Saxon who owned the lands around Tavistock prior to the Norman conquest in 1066. And I missed out just then, it also connected the route over to Tavistock Abbey, so quite a major crossroads. So from here it's just a 20-minute walk up to Princetown. Just arrived at South Ingra Tor on the way to Princetown. Just going to go up to the top and admire the view. So this is looking eastwards. This is where I'm heading this afternoon. That's to the south where I've just came, and that's where I was this morning. I think that may be Sheep's Tor over in the distance. Just arrived in the centre of Princetown. This is the Dartmoor Visitor Centre. This used to be an old hotel. It was called the Duchy Hotel. This is where Sir Arthur Conan Doyle used to stay when he was writing The Hound of the Baskervilles, when he was travelling around Dartmoor looking at the locations. There's a little convenience store just down here. I'm just going to get some nice sugary snacks for this evening when I'm camping. So from here it's just about 6 miles walk to the campsite. I've just arrived at what is known as the Crock of Gold Kist. So a kist is a Bronze Age burial chamber, very small burial chamber. They would dig the hole, then line it with stones, then they would put a capstone on top. And I think that's the capstone there. And it got the name Crock of Gold. I think there's an ancient story about a crock of gold being hidden here. I must say they picked a very nice place to have the burial chamber. Nice sweeping views from up here. I think I'm about 3 miles now from Houghton Wheel. I've just arrived at Houghton Wheel's tin mine. I put the tent up quick and I'm just going to have a look around because it might start raining pretty soon. So I was here a few months ago while camping, and when I was here then I thought it was a China clay mine, but it's not, it's actually a tin mine. So I did a bit of Googling to see how they process the tin ore. And this is an open cast mine, and I think they, just here on this platform, there would have been a big stamping machine. So all the rock that they had mined, they put it in this big crushing stamping machine, and that would crush all the rock into powder, and then they would put it into these 2 pits, and these are called buddle pits, and they're about 1.5 foot deep, and they put the crushed rock in there with water, and then they'd have another machine stirring the water around. And because the iron ore was heavier than the other rock, that would sink to the bottom, and then they could drain off the water and collect the tin ore. Unfortunately, there's no buildings left at the tin mine, and that's because they all got blown up in 1944. Because in the weeks leading up to the D-Day landings, all of Dartmoor was one big army training ground. And they used the tin mine here as target practice for the artillery. And there's still one remaining section of wall here. And if you look carefully, you can still see the marks left from bullets. These are bullet holes. So someone would have been using this for a machine gun target practice. So quite literally 80 years ago today, probably, because of course this June is the 80th anniversary of D-Day, but 80 years ago today this would definitely not be a good place to be standing. Right, I'm going to settle down now and put the stove on and listen to the radio. Hopefully it'll be another nice peaceful night on the moors. So until tomorrow morning, good night. Wow, that was quite a wet and windy night last night, but the tent stayed up. So today I've got a 15-mile walk. I'm heading up to Ingra Tor near Lustley, where I'll be camping tonight. And I'll be going through the village of Widdicombe on the way. This is the West Dart River. It's in full flow after all the rain we've been having recently. Oh, starting to clear up a bit now, I think. Just arrived at Dartmeet. So on Dartmoor there's the East Dart River and the West Dart River, and this is where they both join up, and then they head down to Totnes and then down to Dartmouth. There's the remains of an old clapper bridge just there. I think this bridge is an 18th century bridge. So just going to have a little break here and then start heading over to Widdicombe. Just arrived in Widdicombe. It's a very small village, but there's a cafe over there, so I'm just gonna go over there to warm up a little bit. And they got a shop selling drinks and chocolate and stuff, so just gonna stock up, sit here for a little bit and then carry on to the tour. I imagine the village is a lot more busier in summer than it is at the moment. Just had a nice hot pasty at the cafe, so now it's just another 6 miles to go until I get to Hunter's Tor. I'm getting quite close to Hunter's Tor. I was hoping to camp right on top of the hill tonight and get some really nice views, but because of all this wet and windy weather, I think it might be a good idea to camp lower down, because just to the south of Hunter's Tor there's a wild camping zone. It's a nice big wood. It's quite close to the River Bovey, so I think I'm going to go there where it'll be a little bit more sheltered tonight. Just arrived at the River Bovey. Crossed the river over these boulders, and now I'm in wild camping country, so I can just put my tent up where I like around here now. No shortage of drinking water anyway. Found a nice quiet spot for the tent. I hope to go and visit Hunter's Tor tomorrow morning. It's just at the top of the hill on the way to Exeter, but this is a lot more calmer than last night. It was a bit wet and windy last night. It's much more sheltered here. So again, I'm going to settle down, listen to the radio, and so until tomorrow morning, good night. Another gloomy day, unfortunately, but I'm staying in a hotel tonight, so I can try everything out this evening. I'm on Hunter's Tor. I'm just approaching the remains of an old Iron Age hill fort on top of the hill. Not much to see nowadays, but I'm standing on one of the concentric banks that used to form the hill fort that they built here during the Iron Age. The human activity on Dartmoor, archaeologists believe there was a lot of people on the moors until around 1200 BC. And then for some reason the activity died off a bit, and there are a couple of reasons for this. They may have overfarmed the land, so it just became the sort of boggy peatland that we have nowadays. And there's another theory that there was a big volcanic eruption at Iceland, which caused the volcanic dust caused a lot of climate change for several years. And around the same time, there's a big event in the sort of eastern Mediterranean region where the advanced countries were, such as Greece and Egypt, and that was called the Bronze Age collapse. And there was a lot of wars and so on going on then. So, but for some reason, the economy in Europe sort of collapsed around 1200 BC, and then around 750 BC. In the Iron Age, they started building several hill forts around Dartmoor. So it may have been around then that they would have started using the moors for summer pasture for the livestock. But after 1200 BC, that's when people started to move away from the moors. So here's the view from Hunter's Tor. So I think Exeter over in this direction just following country lanes today, all downhill, so it should be quite a easy walk. I'm heading to Blackingstone Rock, where I hope to get my last view of Dartmoor before heading onwards to Exeter. Just arrived at Blackingstone Rock. The locals have put us some steps here, which was quite nice. Quite nice of them, so it's quite easy to get to the top, but I think I'd better take my backpack off, it looks a bit steep. So this is looking back towards Dartmoor. And this is looking over towards Exeter. So from here, it's another 12 miles down to Exeter. Just arrived at Exeter Cathedral. So this is where I finish my little walk from Tavistock and head for the hotel and then get ready for tomorrow's walk. So I would like to talk about the history of Exeter, but I think this video's been getting a bit too long now. So I'm going to wrap it up now and upload it tonight. So tomorrow I'll be walking to Clumpton, which is a nice easy walk. Then onwards to Bristol. So again, thank you very much for watching my video, and I hope to upload another one soon. Bye.